Hello, how are we all doing? Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are watching this, whatever time it is you are watching this. Welcome to the latest video. This is all about a Lord of the Rings tournament, which, as of time of recording, I went to this weekend, this last weekend. Really, really cool. The Lord of the Rings game is amazing anyway, and team tournaments, as I constantly say, are some of the best ways to play any game. So if you're into 40k or Lord of the Rings or like Kill Team or Warcry or anything like that, if you can get to a team tournament and play with some of your friends, it's some of the absolute best ways to play the game, play any game. Lord of the Rings is one of my favourite games as well. It's got such nuance to it, and because the rule set is particularly strong, and it really scales very well into kind of a competitive scene as well. I don't want to, and I don't try to play Lord of the Rings competitively. I try to have a little bit of system mastery over it. I'm not too bad, but I was incredibly rusty in this tournament. So the first game was incredibly quick. But yeah, the the army that I wanted to take was all based around this model, really. So I wanted to do a Lothlorien army led by Galadriel for a while. I do like Galadriel as a character. Her rules are rather interesting. I've never really used magic very much, and in all of my Lord of the Rings games, I've played a lot of games with my friends who were in my team as well for this event, and I played a lot of games with them, and I've never really used any magic. So I very, very much wanted to do a magic led army, if you like, and like Galadriel, she's amazing. I absolutely love Galadriel to bits. So the chance to be able to kind of paint this model up as well, which was incredibly kindly gifted to me by a friend, and it's probably my favourite model of Galadriel. She is fine cast, so there was a lot of kind of prep work and kind of a little bit of converting, and kind of I've resculpted her nose and resculpted her face a little bit, just kind of tidied it up. And yeah, it was so cool to paint up. As you can see, she's walking down some steps, and she also had the mirror as well in the list. So it was from in my head, it was the scene where she walks down to Frodo, who's by the mirror. So that's why she's walking down her steps. And yeah, very, very cool. The Lothlorien list after that was at list submission day. I was actually at Golden Demon, so we were kind of throwing lists together, like, yeah, maybe that one works. And I'd done a couple of mock-up lists a few months before, and we kind of smashed the two lists together, and it was like, yeah, that'll be fine. But as I say, like, Lord of the Rings is a very, very cool game for one particular reason, is that any army can win. It doesn't really matter what the army is. A very, very good player can win games of Lord of the Rings with pretty much any army. So, rule of cool is literally like that. It's really does rule. So the rule of cool really is a very, very important part of Lord of the Rings, and I'm very lucky that the three players who are in my team, my three kind of Lord of the Rings fellowship, if you like, they do very, very cool armies. So this was my army. So this is my list that I took. It was Galadriel, who led 3 Galadrim knights with a bow, 5 Galadrim warriors with a sword and a shield, 3 with a spear, a banner with a Galadrim warrior with a banner, and then 4 guards of the Galadrim court. Then there was a Haldir. I did a converted Haldir, and I really wanted to use Haldir. Probably, like, if in hindsight, it would have been nice to have the husband and wife Celeborn Galadriel pair up, but hey, I didn't get that model finished in time anyway. So we have Haldir with 2 Galadrim knights with sword and shield, 4 Galadrim warriors with sword and shield, and the Wood Elf Sentinel, which I've always used in all my Lothlorien lists. They're really, really good fun. I've not managed to use them properly yet, effectively and efficiently. System mastery again. There's some things to talk about on that one. 5 Wood Elf warriors, and then the final absolute big bad. We have Gil-galad. I did last year's team tournament. I took Gil-galad, Elrond, and Glorfindel with some Knights of Rivendell. So I had the Gil-galad model already converted. I do have a second Gil-galad which I'm converting up, Yeah, it was it was a really, really fun list. Like, it's always fun to have some Gil-galad in there, and it was really, really cool to play around with Galadriel. She absolutely bossed it all weekend, to be fair. And the yes, she was properly cool. Won a fair few duels that she had no right to even be in, let alone win. Yeah, so that was my army. It was very, very quickly painted. I do feel a little bit bad about kind of rushing the paint jobs. I've started repainting them because I didn't quite like my original paint job, so I've kind of tweaked the colour scheme a little bit, so it's a little bit more woodland orientated. Like the greens are a bit more muted. Yeah, so I will. That's something to address. I'm going to kind of tidy up and finish off the paint job at some point. So it was very much a tournament paint job anyway. Painted it in a week. So anyway, next army. So Lewis was also in my team, and he took Easterlings, which are absolutely stunning. Really, really nice army. He got second in the best army nominations as well, which is fantastic. Well done, Lewis. I also hate him because I have an Easterling army. I was kind of umming and ahhing about what evil army to add to my collection because I didn't really have any. So I ended up going, I may as well just get some of the most beautiful models in the range. So I got Easterlings. Now, Lewis's army, and this is why I hate him, has some phenomenal conversions in there. So they are very much inspiring me to do my own. Right, so very, very quickly, we have Rutabi. In the first warband, we got 5 Black Dragons, 4 Eastling Warriors with shields and pikes, 6 Eastling Warriors with shields, and a Runish Wardrake, which is really cool because that's a Seraphon Salamander, an old Salamander. We've then got Armdir with some Black Dragons, Cataphrax Black Dragons. We've got Brogir with 3 Dragon Cultic Acolytes, which are amazing. And then we have a Mordor Troll with Blackguard of Barad-dûr. Now, because Eastlings can have Mordor allies, this is where Lewis's army starts just looking phenomenal, and I'm going to shamelessly steal all his ideas and do them myself for my army as well, which is yeah, it's it's a big compliment, right? But all his Mordor allies have all been converted to look like Easterlings. So the Mordor Troll Chieftain has like Easterling armor on there. He's got an Easterling sword, as you will see in some of the later photographs. All his Blackguard of Barad-dûr have Easterling helmets and Easterling shields. It just looks amazing. And you end up walking through or flicking through all the Mordor options, going, oh, maybe I can convert that one into an Easterling. Maybe I can convert that one into an Easterling. So I have lots of ideas. I need to get cracking. Absolutely get cracking. Anyway, Lewis was amazing. He played some really, really good games throughout the weekend. The next army, and we have Sam. So Sam was number 3 in the team, and he took Moria, led by the Balrog. I mean, how can you not have fun playing Lord of the Rings with the Balrog? It's just amazing. So the Balrog with 2 Goblin Prowlers and some Goblin Warriors with shields and spears, just goblins everywhere. Moria Goblin Captain with a Cave Troll, some more Moria Goblin Prowlers, which you need. Like, if you're running Moria, like, Prowlers are so important. And then another Moria Goblin Captain with some warriors and a drum, and then finally a Black Shield Shaman, which are really, really cool. But only 4 bows. I was wondering whether more bows would help on this one. But Sam played so well with this. Played an absolutely stonking game too. Day 2 as well. Won both his games in day 2. Spoilers for later in the video. But played so well. The army looked amazing. He painted flamey, fiery Balrog. Looked fantastic. The classic, probably my favourite troll, the Cave Troll with the hammer. It's maybe second to the cave troll from the spear, but that's more of a nostalgic kind of nod to the films and everything. But really, really nice army. Proper cool to see this one on the tabletop with all the goblins as well. Yeah, fantastic. And then finally, and certainly not by no means least, we have Ash, who had just an awesome looking army. He sadly had to kind of tweak and change his army just before submission deadline because we were running out of time to kind of get everything painted up. So this one was changed and tweaked, and we have it's so nuts. We got Treebeard, we got Quick Beam, and then we got Radagast with three Great Eagles. It's so fun. However, I have since found out that Radagast can ride a Great Eagle. So, Ash, I have a question for you. Why was Radagast not riding a Great Eagle? We need to find that one out. That would have been even cooler. I'm not sure you'd be able to fit it into points, but hey. Anyway, very, very cool looking army. Ash also got a Best Painter nomination, which was truly deserved. I mean, look how cool these eagles look. The rocks, Ash's bases are just out of this world. I've always loved Ash's bases. He makes me incredibly jealous because I can't get mine to look anything like this cool. And so he's got three Great Eagles, 2 Ents, 2 Tree Men wandering around, just monsters everywhere, monstrous attacks everywhere. Very, very cool. He had some phenomenal games. I think his favourite game was his final game against Easterlings with like Candice chariots everywhere. He was just throwing things all over the place. Yeah, a lot of fun. Really, really cool looking army. So anyway, the tournament was at Warhammer World. It's absolutely one of my favourite places to play tournaments. I think the atmosphere down there is just it's so much fun. Like, you've got Bugman's there, so we all hang out and have breakfast before the tournament on the Saturday. You have the exhibition there as well to hang around. So because you are playing at a tournament at Warhammer World and the atmosphere is all there, I think everybody's just in such a good mood. It creates some really cool armies. Everybody like pulls their stops out to bring some really cool armies down there. I've had some of my favourite games of any game system really down at Warhammer World. There is one of my Glorfindels which I entered into Golden Demon, so I was taking that down to pop into the cabinets, which you'll see later. And we turned up. Tournament started on Saturday morning, and like I was saying, like, one of the cool things about playing down at Warhammer World is that you got Bugman's there as well. Hello, Ed. That's Ed, one of the guys who was running the tournament. And I've got a bone to pick with Ed, as you will find out later in the video. And so we all turned up. You turn up at 9 o'clock on the Saturday morning. The games don't start until 10, so you've got an hour just to kind of hang out in Bugman's, catch up with everybody there, see everybody's armies, talk to everybody, all the tournament players, probably catch up with some friends that you've met through tournaments and things like that. And generally just have you can have a breakfast there as well. So I'd like to have a nice fry up before a tournament. It gives you plenty of energy because you'll need it going into the tournament. You play three games on the first day, and although my first game was over very, very quickly because it was we'll get to that, but I tend to like to have just like a little bit of a fry up and make an event of it, make a day of it, make a weekend of it, sort of thing. So this is the tournament hall with all the battlements around Warhammer World. It's fantastic. So you got 20 teams. There were 20 teams here who were playing. I think there were 19 registered. So Warhammer World themselves put a team in to make up the 20th, so that we've got even numbers so that everybody can play everybody. And this was game one. So game one was against a team who ultimately actually went on and won the whole tournament, which was awesome. They were very, very cool players, very good players. I played Luke, who had Easterlings, and so I'll come out straight away. I haven't played Lord of the Rings since the last team tournament, so I was incredibly rusty. I am very comfortable in tournament situations, though. However, I'd completely forgotten like the nuances of the game and everything. So, and also I was using like Galadriel. It was the first time I'd had the opportunity to use a little bit of magic in Lord of the Rings. That was one of the reasons, like I was saying, was one of the reasons why I wanted to take this army and have Galadriel leading it as well. So I had the Sentinel, I had Galadriel, so I was able to maneuver and kind of push people out of position. The issue was I'd kind of forgotten that what sort of positions we could that I could push things and push people out of the way. So, for instance, an obvious one is if you're in combat with your opposition army, one of the coolest things to do with a Sentinel or Galadriel is command or Sentinel song the banner out of the way so that the enemy doesn't get a banner reroll in the combat. So just like little nuances and little kind of tricks. Like my system mastery of Lord of the Rings has dropped quite a bit, and although I don't want to play Lord of the Rings competitively, I don't want to go to GTs or anything like that. I do want to just play for not really for fun, but I want to play and have a good time with some friends and make stories and within the game, which this game is incredibly good for. Like, for instance, Galadriel had no right to even be in the fights. Like, I wasn't protecting Galadriel very well throughout the tournament, but she ended up in a fight with a bear, and she ended up in a fight with Aragorn, and she nearly ended up in a fight with a chariot, but she won the fight against a bear and nearly did a wound. She won the fight against Aragorn and wounded Aragorn. Like, she had no right to do stuff like that. So they're the kind of stories and cool things that end up coming out of games of Lord of the Rings, which I really like. And it's a very different feel to me than playing a competitive 40k game, which to be fair, it's a little bit of an odd one because, like, Lord of the Rings is the nuance and the system mastery, like the skill ceiling of Lord of the Rings, I think is incredibly high. I think there's a massive range of system mastery that you can get with Lord of the Rings, and I would love to get a little bit better at it, just so I can do some even cooler things and play with cooler armies. Not even play with cooler armies, because I already play with cool armies. But there's Mr. Sam the Legend. That was his game one. But playing this first game, Luke obviously knew incredibly well how to play the game. He was probably scratching his head an awful lot about what I was doing, because basically I lined up in front of his Easterlings and just charged into combat. And I was like, I just want to roll some dice. I want to remember a little bit of the game and get comfortable again in this sort of environment. So it was really cool. Very, very good fun. Like I say, if anybody has any tips or advice or little tricks on how to use particularly Lothlorien, I would love to know. But if you have any tips and tricks for Easterlings or Moria Goblins or the Trees and Eagles for the rest of my team, that would be amazing. Just throw them down in the comments down below. Absolutely love the Lord of the Rings community. You're all fantastic, and kind of being, I don't really want to say part of it, but being involved in it is amazing. I absolutely love going to these tournaments. I'm looking forward to doing some, I think a lot of the team that I went to with this, we're going to do a Throne of Skulls at Warhammer World, Lord of the Rings Throne of Skulls. I think we've got some doubles that we want to do, and obviously we're going to play the teams again next year as well, because it's categorically the best way to play any game. So game one was against Easterling. Games 2 was also against Easterlings. My game 1 was over incredibly quickly. Like I say, we lined up. Luke had all his Easterlings on the deployment line. I lined up a little bit further back. I don't quite know why. You're probably all scratching your heads about some of my deployments. And I very simply just kind of charged in and was like, let's have some dice rolls and have some duels. So that was over very quickly. Luke completely outplayed me, which he had every right to do. And game 2 was also against Eastlings. I had a bit more kind of time, if you like, to get comfortable with this one. I was the team captain, so I was doing all the pairings as well at the beginning of the game, which was really, really good fun. I like being able to take that side of the tournament away from my friends so that they can just kind of chill and relax and enjoy their games. Like, they don't need to worry about having to organise the pairings and sort that out. And I'm, like I say, I've played a lot of tournaments, so that was fine for me. And yeah, I was kind of just getting into the swing of things by game 2. It was Easterlings, it was Contest of Champions as well, which was hilarious with Galadriel. So I had Galadriel as my leader, who deployed right in front of the Dragon Emperor, luckily won the roll-off for first turn, the priority role, and then just ran off and spent the entire turn and the entire game running away from chariots and running away from the army, and trying to Gil-galad was chasing the Dragon Emperor, trying to take him down. And yeah, it was a very, very, very good game. It was nice. That was the game going into the evening. So you play 3 games on day 1, you play 2 games on day 2, and yeah, it's so much fun. The Easterling army of Lewis's, I do have so much admiration for, and like it's such an aspiring and inspiring army to see, particularly as I have. So I have an Easterling army. It's not painted yet. I've painted a couple of models on there just to kind of do a test color scheme, and the idea that you can kind of ally in all these different Mordor models, and then not even just that, you can then convert them as well into a little bit more of an Easterling aesthetic. Is just amazing. It looks so good. So I'm going to shamelessly steal every single idea that Lewis has done. The Easterling troll, the Mordor troll chieftain, is phenomenal. Like I have ideas to do. I think is Caradush. He's an orc shaman who casts flame burst, so you can. I was thinking of kind of converting him up to be a little bit more of an Easterling, like give him an Easterling helmet, and then even you can turn like the fire missile that he's casting to have like a little dragon head on it. I think that would be amazing. And so here is as well, just very quickly. This is my 2 Glorfindors, which are I painted for Golden Demon, so they are now in the cabinets at Warhammer World. So in the Lord of the Rings cabinets, if you are passing, you can go and have a look at my 2 Glorfindors if you are there. If you do, please let me know what you think. So that was part of. So Glorfindor was part of last year's army list, which I took. Last year was a 3 Lords of the West. So I had Glorfindor, Gil-galad, and Elrond with some Rivendell Knights, which was such a fun army to play. It's one of the best things about Lord of the Rings. You can have some incredible armies, and like I said earlier, like rule of cool really does rule, because any army can win. Like if you have like system mastery and knowledge of how your army works, then pretty much any army can win a game of Lord of the Rings. It's so much fun. So if you just kind of flick through, even if you have like a favorite scene from a movie, then you can recreate that army and paint it up, and you can have some amazing games with just that army. And there's such variety in the different armies as well. Like if you want to, later on in the video, you will see Ed's army, which is just the Dark Powers of Dol Guldur. So you have the 9 Nazgul and the Necromancer. So it was just 10 models. So and they've all got little nuances and ways to play and special rules that allow you to toolbox those in games really, really well. So that's a really, really fun army to play around with. And then on the opposite side to that, you can have 200 goblins if you want from Goblin Town. There's the team. Look at them. Absolute legends. You got Lewis, Sam, and Ash. Thank you very much, guys. You were absolutely amazing that weekend. So much fun. And the armies that you end up leaving the tournament with ideas for is just insane. I played Bjornlings on day 2, which is this game here, and these models are so nice. And I really enjoy painting. I'm a massive painter. So if armies have really nice models, then I'm a bit of a sucker for it straight away. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up with Easterlings as well, because I needed an evil army just in case. Because the way team tournaments work is you have a team of 4, 2 people take an evil army, 2 people take a good army, and I just had 3 elf armies. I've had the Mirkwood, the Lothlorien, and the Rivendell. They're the only armies I really had. So I wanted to have an evil army just in case we kind of tweak the team composition around and I had to take an evil army, or I wanted to take an evil army. And because I'm a painter and because I really like painting nice models, I ended up I had a couple of ideas for Moria. I had a couple of ideas for the Nazgul and things like that, Black Riders, and I just ended up like picking one of the prettiest armies, which is the Easterlings. The Easterlings have got some of the nicest models, and these Bjornlings are right up there as well. Those the regular warriors look so good, and the kit is so nice, and you can have such variety in what they're wielding and what poses they have. So, and the other thing is, because you're playing Lord of the Rings, well, not because you're playing Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings armies in general are much smaller. So, like the Björnlings here are maybe 30 models. The elf army which I took was, I think it was 31 models. And so you don't really have that many models to paint, and so you can put some really nice effort into them, take some time, which is one of the reasons I'm trying to do the Lothlorien again. I'm just trying to put a little bit more effort into them. And I know I say I painted this army in a week for the tournament, and they're very much tournament standard, which is like 3 colours, but they are kind of neatly painted 3 colours, so I can like come back to them and tweak them and advance them and tidy them up a lot. But that's one of the good things and cool things about Lord of the Rings, is that you can get into it with such small armies. And yeah, leaving events like this with, I could just pick up like 20 Björnlings and a bear and have a Björnlings army, and I could just pick up the Dark Powers of Dol Guldur and paint 9 models, and I could have an army. And it's so much fun. But I like I say, I do have an Easterling army that will probably be one of the armies which I take to one of the next tournaments, and it is inspired greatly by Lewis's army. Lewis's Eastlings look absolutely phenomenal, and then the way in which you can ally in to Eastlings as well. So Eastlings have one of the largest ally contingents in Mordor, so you can pick loads and loads of models from Mordor, but being able to kind of tweak the aesthetic of those models and make a troll chieftain look like an Easterling troll, or have Blackguard of Barad-dûr and tweak those to look more like Easterlings. Like, so many ideas, so much cool stuff that I want to add to my Eastlings as well. So you really do leave tournaments and events, because you're spending an entire weekend with people who have put time and effort into not only writing the list, but building the models and painting the models. They're so excited about the armies that they're playing, and then you get to play against those armies as well, and you're like, oh my god, these bears are so cool, or this Necromancer and the Dark Powers of Dol Guldur, the Nazgul, are so much fun. Although don't say that to Sam, because he's probably still got a little bit of PTSD against playing that army. It was an absolute head scratcher for him, but phenomenal game. He played so well, and he actually ended up coming out of that army with a win as well. Coming out of that game with a win, he beat the 9 Nazgul and the Necromancer with the Balrog. Set the Necromancer on fire for 6 turns, and then chased him around the table, and he eventually died, which was awesome. Compared to me in Contest of Champions, which was Galadriel. Sorry, it wasn't Contest of Champions, but compared to me with Galadriel versus a bear, and she actually won that fight, which was amazing, and very, very nearly wounded the bear as well. If he hadn't saved that wound with his fate, then Galadriel would have killed the bear as well. And yeah, so Lewis's army with the Runish Wardrake as well. I don't know whether to just like outright, flat out copy and steal that idea, or whether to do something with the new Seraphon Salamander model. I'm not sure, but yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. And that theme really does run across his entire army as well. He's got such cool conversions, and I think one of the cooler ones that I know Lewis is going to do, and I really want to do as well, is it the Great Beast of Golgoroth? And so you can convert that one up, make that one look a little bit more Eastlings, have Eastlings riding in there as well, and obviously when that model dies, then the Eastlings don't die, they land on the battlefield, so then you'll have Eastling archers on the battlefield as well. And there's a little goblin occupying the Necromancer while he's on fire. What a game from Sam. Sam had an absolutely stonking day too. He won both his games. He played the Dark Powers of Dol Guldur, and he also played the Vanquishers as well of the Necromancer. So he killed, he beat Elrond, Galadriel, Radagast, Saruman, and Gandalf. Absolutely brilliant. What a tournament! It's if anybody has any tips or information, little podcasts and things like that about because one of the things that I find really interesting about learning games and improving your system mastery is being able to kind of break down your games afterwards and work out what it is that you went wrong. Now, the issue with that is that you don't know what you did wrong, and you don't know what mistakes you made because you don't have the understanding and the system mastery of what those mistakes are. So if anybody has any kind of tips, podcasts, videos or things like that, or even if you want to come on to a live stream with me, Ash, and Sam and stuff, and give us some advice and some tips about just like mic usage and little things like, for instance, being in combat and then using your command ability, Galadriel's command ability, to move the enemy's banner out of range and things like that. Yeah, might and resource management is such a big thing in Lord of the Rings, but maybe I'm not doing it particularly as well as I should be able to do, or as well as I should be. So if anybody has any tips and tricks for Lord of the Rings, that would be amazing, because I've got so many ideas for armies. I'm not short on ideas for armies, but I do want to get a little bit better at the game. Just so I can go in and have even more fun, because the more system mastery you have over a game, ultimately the more fun I think you can have as well. Because if you rock up to, like, my final game was against the Grey Company, which was this game here. So the Grey Company is a army of rangers, and they all have might and fate. So being able to pick them off isn't quite as easy as Lothlorien used to, as I used to be with Lothlorien. So playing Lothlorien, I've been used to kiting a little bit, picking off some warriors, and then kind of piling in with heroes once I've whittled them down a little bit. But actually trapping and stopping and holding back the Grey Company was a really interesting game. So I'd love to know some little ways in which we can play and be better next time. That would be amazing. So, like, final thoughts. It's just so much fun. I do like these tournaments. However, I did leave with an army, and it is completely Ed's fault. It is all Ed's fault. So, game 4, day 2. First game of the day, Sam and his Moria played against Ed and his Dark Powers of Dol Guldur. Now, as I say, I am a painter. I love painting really, really nice models, and the Dark Powers of Dol Guldur, the Nazgul, they're Forge World resin. They're beautifully sculpted. They're really, really nice models, and I've wanted them for a while. Anyway, I have left this tournament with that army. So here it is. Here's the army. It's 9 models. That's all it is. It's 9 models. I've done the bases. Now, Ash and Lewis have also painted these up, so I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from both of those, not only on the painting style but also on the basing side of things. Like I say earlier, I absolutely love Ash's bases. They're phenomenal. I like Lewis's paint style, so I am going to do them kind of glowy green, a little bit of a glowy green from Dol Guldur, that kind of feel to them, and then do some non-metallic on the opposite side of them. The bases are inspired by, or partly inspired by, some of Ash's that he's done for his models, and yeah, they're fantastic. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to take that. I don't know whether we'll take them to a tournament. If I do, it's probably more going to be to try and win a best painted trophy, rather than kind of play them particularly well, because although they have the potential to be, in inverted commas, my kind of army in terms of really toolboxy and lots of little nuances and special tweaky, funky rules to play around, I'm not sure I'll be able to get the most out of them. But hey, who knows? I might really learn to like them and take them to all the tournaments coming up. I don't know, and but we will see. The other army, which I am very tempted by, but I've probably got too much on my desk at the moment anyway, is the Bjornlings. I think I will probably leave those for a little bit. They might just be a flash in the pan just because the models are so nice, but I do want to add some more to my Eastlings, so I think I will get I'm going to do the priming on the Dolgador Nazgul and get a quick initial glow down with the airbrush and then kind of enhance it with the brush along with the non-metallic as well. So I will get that down, I'll get them all based in and see what they look like. But I think the next big thing that I want to do for my Lord of the Rings stuff are the Aetherlings. I've got a lot already. They are ready to be based. If I can get all the bases done, then I can sit them on their bases and I can kind of just pick off one at a time and paint a model and get him done and then move on to the next one. So it's the bases really for the Aetherlings, which I'm going to do as lava bases. They've got a really cool green scheme. I've only painted a couple just to kind of test that scheme out, but they're all going to be on lava bases, which is going to be really fun to play around with. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I cannot recommend team tournaments enough for you guys, and I cannot recommend Lord of the Rings enough as well. It's such a fun game, and it's got such a low entry level in terms of how many models you need. It's just have a go, have a go. If you want to come into my Twitch stream and chat about Lord of the Rings at any time, and you are more than welcome to. It is twitch.tv/Chris Frossin. And if you have any questions or if you want to reach out and help me as well with my Lord of the Rings game, then please feel free to do that as well. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Frossin. You can find me anywhere at Chris Frossin. I'm on Facebook as well. I'm in the Hobbit groups on Facebook as well. So thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you all had a cool time. If you did go to the tournament, thank you very much for all my opponents as well. So a big shout out to my opponents and a massive shout out to my friends in the team. You guys have got me back into the Lord of the Rings game a couple of years ago, and it's just so much fun, and I can't thank you enough for that. So I look forward to seeing you all at the next tournament we go to. I don't know whether that's going to be a doubles tournament or the Throne of Skulls. Don't know which one is going to be next, but I'm sure I will be at one of them. And the only question is, what army do I take? Do I finish off my Mirkwood? Do I repaint and finish repainting my Lothlorien? We shall see. Do I do that Aetherling beast model conversion? Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Have an amazing rest of the week, and I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.